Hi there, it's Frank Simon with Simon Says Roses with you again today. Today we're going to be looking at this little piece of foam. It's called flower foam, oasis block, aqua foam. It's essential in the tools of a florist or a do-it-yourselfer when it comes to floral arranging. A lot of people think it's only useful for sticking flowers in, and to some extent that's true. But its major function is to provide a water source for the flowers that are inserted into it. So the key thing is not to make this damp, wet. Actually, the key thing is to keep it saturated. And you see floral foam, if it's not in a vase, floral foam is being used. Whether it's a basket arrangement, commonly used in funerals, casket sprays, hearts, wreaths, all utilize flower foam. But the key thing, and the thing that do-it-yourselfers and rookies goof up almost every single time, is the simple concept of saturation. Now, the easiest thing to do, one would think, is just to put it into a container, take a pitcher, dump water in it, and voila, you've got a wet oasis. Not true. The oasis needs to be saturated thoroughly all the way through. Now, what happens is if you just dump water in it, the central part is either going to be dry or it's going to have air bubbles into it. You stick a flower into an air bubble, it's not going to be able to absorb water. So that's not the proper way to do it if you want a saturated block of oasis. The other thing to do is to take a container that's full of water. I have a casserole dish, for example, just for display purposes. And you take your oasis and simply plunge it into it. Again, the action of plunging it into the water source, you'll see a whole bunch of bubbles rising to the top. That's because there's air trapped inside. Again, not the way to do it. The other thing is, and you notice I'm treating this almost like it's gold, it's very lightweight. What I don't want to do is put a bunch of fingerprints into here, because by putting in fingerprints, by pressing too hard on the oasis, I'm compressing the foam, and again, it creates an area where the water cannot be absorbed. So I treat it very lightly with both hands. The proper way to saturate your oasis is to take your container of water and gently place it into the container, and it will float to begin with. As it becomes saturated, the water is absorbed from the bottom to the top of the oasis. It's only completely saturated when the whole block looks wet. And you'll see very slowly, probably 5 to 10 minutes, the top of the oasis will look wet. That'll be saturated. Then it's ready for use. Then it's simply a matter of taking the block. If you have a basket arrangement, for example, you can simply use your floral knife, cut it into sections, put it into your container. It's soaking wet. Same thing goes, for example, if you're using a basket. Once you've got your arrangement done in your basket, don't simply dump water over top of the flowers or on top of the oasis. Take a container filled with water and flower food and gently pour in the water into the side of their basket. The water then will be absorbed from the bottom to the top, totally saturating the container. That's the way to ensure that your floral arrangements done in flower foam will last the longest and not die in a matter of a couple of days. Frank Simon, Simon Says Roses. Thanks again.